Why do you think people aren't being listened to? Do you think it's because of resources? Do you think it's because of racism, of class? What do you think it is?
I think it's a mixture. I mean, racism and class does massively come into it, especially from my experience. But I also think it's a stigma with social housing tenants. It's a cultural issue within the housing sector. And the fact is, landlords can get away with it due to the lack of regulation. I mean, for example, we're often told as civilians, nobody is above the law. And I think in the case of bad landlords, they shouldn't be exempt from that either, especially in cases like our, where it costs the life of an innocent individual.
So Gareth Swarbrick has been removed from his post as Chief Executive of Rochdale Borough-wide Housing. That's the housing association that rented the house. Michael Gove has written to every council leader in England and social housing provider. Do you think that change is coming?
Well, I have to say in the case of Rochdale Borough-wide Housing's chief executive having to be fired is an insult and disgrace, and I think it represents the culture again within housing and directors' boards. The fact that directors' boards only 24 hours ago was agreeing that he should stay in his post, even after that story comes out, is insulting for me. So I can't imagine what it's like for the family. Do I think change comes? Change should have come 5.5 years ago after Grenfell. We should not be sat here having the conversation about an innocent 2-year-old dying as a result of the neglect of his landlord. But here we are. Change really should have come then, so I really hope it does. I really hope the sector wakes up and does their jobs, realises that it's people's lives they're dealing with. It's not just a 9 to 5. I think that's what the problem is.
What would your message be right now to Michael Gove? You're obviously a very eloquent spokesperson for many, many people right across the country. What would your message be to him?
Well, I've spoken to Michael Gove and his team several times, and I'm glad the regulation's coming in. It needs to come in a lot quicker. I don't think we're being tough enough with bad landlords. I think in cases like this, to avoid cases like this, we honestly need criminal charges now. If it was any other sector, if this was the NHS, for example, and it was a doctor or nurse who had neglected their patient in this way and it resulted to a death, not only would they be struck off, that wouldn't even be disputed, there would also be a criminal investigation opened, and we need to see it within housing too, because it's people's lives they're dealing with, like I said earlier, not just a 9 to 5.